Uh, Aniket, can you start? I think people can join in between.
Yeah, let's get started. I was thinking
Sure.
6:09 and 6:05. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. So, today's webinar topic is unlocking career growth with data science and generative AI. So, before going into the webinar, I'll quickly introduce today's speaker. So, today's speaker is Mr. Aniket Chabra. He is currently the Director of Technical Product Management Gen AI in MonAI. With over 13 years of experience in AML and a deep understanding of Gen AI products, Aniket brings a wealth of expertise in building intelligent agent data-driven solutions. His journey spans industry giants like PayPal, Fidelity, GE Capital, and ASAPP. Anikit's skill encompasses predictive modeling, machine learning, and deep learning algorithms. And also, he is one of our alumni of this PGP data science program. So before handing over to the speaker, I would like to give you the basic instructions for today's webinar. So this is a listen only mode webinar. Whatever queries that you have, you can either use the chat section or there is a separate Q&A section where you can put all your queries. Okay. Thank you. Over to you, Aniket.
Yeah, thank you, Vikas. Hey, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for, taking out time on a weekday, especially Friday evening, and joining the session. So, as Vikas mentioned about the agenda, so we're going to talk about, especially how we can choose or unlock a career path with respect to the data science and Gen AI, and especially how the data scientist career path has changed once we have Gen AI uh, um, there in the market, like where so most of the profiles that you see now has been updated with the data science requirements, right, along with Gen AI. So how do we navigate through that journey path to unlock the best career options for us? So what we'll do is this session has three parts, right? The part one is about we'll unpack the roles and responsibilities of a data scientist, like for example day-to-day basis, what is the work that a data scientist do, in terms of, like, we'll take an example of a project and what is the flow of the project, right? So the first step to end the last step, like how the process works. So as a data scientist, if you join a company, it will give you a clarity like how the project moves from the data science point of view. So that will be the first part. Along with that, we'll also cover in this part the skills that are required, and especially after Gen AI, since last 2.5 years Gen AI has been introduced, it is expanding very rapidly, right? So how that is changing the landscape of data science jobs in terms of the skills requirement, what you need to be prepared for, how data science modelings, predictive modeling techniques have been changing since the Gen AI incorporation, right? So that will be part one. Then we'll move to part two, which will tell you the market scenario currently in terms of the job market, right? Especially like what kind of roles that you will see in data science, especially after Gen AI, right? So is there anything changing in terms of the market, number of jobs available? Maybe we'll talk also about the locations, like where these jobs will be in the next couple of years. So that will be part two. Part three will be focusing especially to choose this career path of a data science, how great learning can help you, what great learning offers in terms of the course, right? Especially for working professionals as well as, of course, like freshers also, but how you can choose, how great learning can help you to choose the best career path, like how you can achieve the data scientist role in the next few years or next few months, I would say, right? So by doing this course, how it will help you to uh, be on the track of a data scientist. So that is the agenda, or the structure of the session for today. And as Vikas already mentioned, there's a listen only mode, so I would expect a lot of questions via chat. So as soon as you see any questions, as soon as you have any question, you can always put the question in the Q&A section or the chat. Towards the end of the session, like last 15-20 minutes, we'll keep it for the questions answer only. Okay. So hopefully this clarifies the structure. With that, with further ado, let's now move into the first part of our project, our today's discussion, which is the data science process flow, right? So, if you face any, like, think from a data scientist point of view, right? What does a data scientist do in the day-to-day work, right? Especially, let's say, for example, you are working as a data scientist in a e-commerce company. Let's take an example of Amazon, right? So, let's say you are asked to build a model, a predictive model, to build, to actually tell, like, what are the products the customers are likely to buy, right? So think about a product recommendation model, like, right? So what will you recommend to the customer so that they can buy, right? So that is the problem statement that you receive. So when you start any data science project, the first step is to understand the business problem, right? Like, why are you solving if something you're solving, right? So here, as I mentioned, that product recommendation means that you are actually designing a predictive model, a machine learning model, which will predict what product should customer buy, how it will help the business. Because if you are recommending me, let's say, for example, I am a user, if you are recommending me the best product for me, which I am most likely to buy, so most likely I'll buy it, right? I'll buy it maybe sooner, right? So sometimes for me, there could be a lot of reason I'm not buying the product. It could be, let's say, inertia. I am lazy enough to go to Amazon and buy the product. As soon as you send me an email or you send me a notification on SMS, I might click it and buy it, right? Maybe when I was searching about the product, it was not available in the, in the stock. So then now it's available in the stock and I'm not aware of it. You send me a notification and I'm now aware of it and then I buy it, right? It could be that I may not know, right? Sometimes that I might like certain products, right? For example, a book, right? So I like certain types of book which I have been purchasing, right? But let's say there is another book that has come which I might not be aware of. But if you recommend that book to me, I might find some synergy. What I've read and then now what I want to read, right? Or would like to read. So in that way, I might buy that book. But earlier, if you were not recommending, if you had not recommended that book to me, I would not have gone to Amazon and purchased it, right? So this is how it helps. What what it does to Amazon is increasing the revenue, right? Technically, basically, you're increasing the sale, right? You're letting the customer buy, you're enabling the customer to buy, I would say, and then customers are buying and increasing the revenue of the company, right? So that's a business problem or that's a problem statement that you have. So we want to design a product recommendation model, predictive model. What is the then second step? The second step is collection of the data, right? So which means that data, now this model will be at a customer level. So you collect all the features, all the parameters of this, related to the customer and the product, right? So, and then the step number two will be here that, okay, you check the data overall, sanity checks in the data. And for the sanity checks, you do two steps. One is called the data pre-processing. Now, data might not be in the same format as you are using in the model or you want to use in the model. So then you have to do some pre-processing. So pre-processing means cleaning, maybe it could be format issue. There are lots of steps we need to, perform before we actually build the model. Data scientist's role is what? Data scientist's role is understand a business problem, convert the business problem to a data problem, and then from data again convert this problem to give the provide this answer to the or solution to the problem and share it back with the customer. So every business problem you're converting into a data problem, right? So then you have you have to and the data is not, sometimes data might not be available, sometimes the data is not enough, sometimes data is not in the right format. There could be many challenges or issues to that. As a data scientist, you have a toolkit which will enable you to use to clean the data, formatting of the data, to make sure the data is in the right structure in which you will be able to build the model. That is the EDA and data pre-processing. And that is the main step of any model for a data scientist. Data scientist has to juggle through a lot in this EDA and data pre-processing techniques. There are set of techniques, there are certain SOPs that we follow. always you'll also be learning these SOPs and steps when you start working on the an actual project, and which the course will also teach you, right? During the time period. Basically, that's what you do. That's one of the important step in building a model, predictive model. Then now, after the data is ready, you start building the model. Now, again, at this step also, data scientist has a toolkit, has a technique, set of techniques which it uses, the data scientist uses to build the predictive models, right? So you build the models. It could be, let's say, now here recommendation, it could be, the techniques where you are recommending the products, right? So it's another technique called collaborative filtering, or let's say new large recommendation models also have come up. So those models you build, and then you validate the models. Um, there is a tuning process, which basically meaning that on the unseen data, the data that the model has not seen yet, how would you tune the model to basically get the best out of that in terms of accuracy, right? And that goes to a final model, which we use as a model in production. And the production means that in the real time, whenever a user coming onto the Amazon website, it will actually see recommendation. The user will see recommendations. Those recommendations are through these recommendation models. So that's a high level process flow of a data science model. So again, I have kept it very high level, did not go into details, but that's what you learn how to do it hands on in the course. So then now the question is, okay, I can build the model. I see that, or I have to build the model. I understand as a data scientist. Then what are the skills that are required for me so that I should be able to build the model on my own, hands on, right? So there are two types of, I would say, in your toolkit, there should be two types of skills. The first skill is the tools that you use to handle this overall data, or importing, exporting everything. That is called the language, right? Primary languages, um, 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 programming languages that you use to build the models. One is Python, and second is SQL. So you do all this EDA, pre-processing, and everything. You actually handle it via Python, or SQL, or let's say Excel also to some extent, to clean the data, to make sure the data is in the right format. Then you use Python to build these models. Now, the other set of tools or data skill set is called the tools or techniques. So techniques are machine learning techniques. So these machine learning techniques are predictive models, classification models, regression models. You must have heard the names of logistic regression, ensemble techniques like random forest, XGBoost, go to deep learning techniques, right? Neural networks. And nowadays we hear a lot about the LLMs, large language models. So all these are predictive models in a way that they are like starting from machine learning to deep learning, now generative AI, all are these models, predictive models. So they predict to some extent, right? So it's just that they use different type of data or different type of inputs to predict the output, right? So that's your technique side, or that's your set of techniques that you need to be aware of so that you can apply whenever needed. So then one is the tool side and one is the technique side. Apart from that, what else we need um, to become a good data scientist is, you can say that, the mathematical expertise. Now, when I say mathematical expertise, you don't have to be a mathematician or a statistician to become a data scientist, right? So a basic analytical level of maths you should be aware of in terms of number systems, arithmetics, right? So a bit of in statistics about probability, hypothesis. So these tools and techniques we learn, these skills we learn to become a good data scientist. And apart from that, the other type of skill is business acumen. That is not applicable to people who are freshers, or especially like people less than 2 years of experience. But as you grow in your career, you're supposed to have a business acumen skills as well, which means that you need to be a domain expert, right? You should have a domain knowledge. That's why you will be able to solve problems in that particular domain using AI, ML, and data science, right? So these are the, you can say, a set of skills that are required to become a data scientist. Anyone has any questions on this? You can ask the question in the chat or Q&A. Now, let's say once you acquire those skills and we know the knowledge of, like, we understood high level again how do we work on a data science project, right? What do we need to do? What are the steps there? Now, um, what are the roles that are available for you in this overall, like, data field that we're talking about, data science field that you're talking about, right? So primarily, out of the three roles that you see here, two are applicable to us. One is not applicable for people who have shown interest for this course, right? So the first role, that is, I'll start from the right most role, which is called business analyst, or you can say slash data analyst, right? So now, what is this role? Is basically, you work as a data analyst or business analyst to solve business problems, right? Which means that you use Python, SQL, right, as a programming languages, as a toolkit, right? Analyze the data, convert the business problem to a data problem, analyze the data, right? It could be, let's say, you're building some dashboards, some insights. For example, last 6 months, how the revenue of the product has been, right? Like how the product has been performing in terms of the revenue, right? Which products are the most sold products on Amazon as a category, product category. It could be sub product also. It could be a category within a category, multiple products. Which region is performing very well? Those kind of segmentation, or you can say root cause, right? Or let's say you are launching some, product. You're doing some A/B test or experimentation, right? So which customers like more? You compare that across different groups. So those type of analysis, root cause analysis, deep dive on the data, are part of the data analyst job or business analyst job, right? So they work very closely with the business and perform these type of, task, or say do these kind of projects. The other type of role is called data scientist role, which is the modeling part, right? So you can say everything else remain the same. The only difference between data scientist and business analyst or data analyst is the modeling piece, which means uh, um, a data scientist's mandate is to work on the predictive modeling. So the recommendation model that we took an example in the first slide is the primary responsibility of a data scientist. So he or she has to work on a predictive model part. So their projects involve, predictive models. And that's the main difference between the two. So a data analyst or a business analyst might not be working on a predictive model. Sometimes they may be, sometimes they might be working. Right? It depends upon, sometimes the requirements are there. Data science team is not mature enough, not available. You might have to work on a model offline, so on and so forth. But for a data scientist, it is mandatory. They will work primarily on predictive models. Um, so that's the main difference between the two roles. That's why you see that everything else remains the same. Means the skill set, the tools, techniques, everything remains the same. There's no difference, right, between the two, because sometimes data analysts and business analysts also end up working on predictive models. They have to learn modeling techniques, right? And vice versa also. Data analysts or data scientists also end up working a lot of data analysis, root cause analysis. That is why they also, end up learning all the techniques of data analytics or business analytics, right? The data engineering side, the third part, is something that is applicable to people who are coming from engineering background. So they are the people who are the enablers of these APIs, database integrations, right? We access the large data sets, making sure that the backend of the data, where the data infrastructure is built properly for a company. That is the difference between a data engineer, you can say, or data scientist, and then data um, analyst. Okay. So that's the difference between the three. Again, if you have any questions, happy to clarify those doubts, questions, concerns. No, you can post your queries in the chat. Okay, so now let's shift gears and let's now talk about the Gen AI, the generative AI, evolution. We can say now you can also call it revolution, right? So the way it is percolating in the industry, it's actually, a revolution only. So what is the difference between, a typical data science project that we discussed, right? Recommendation model or analysis, and now let's say Gen AI. So let's understand that first, and then we'll move, then we'll double click on the Gen AI side. So far, the recommendation example that I gave you, right? How does that work? If I have to explain you the process of a recommendation model, what do you collect? You collect a user's preferences in the past, users' demographic information, users' transactional information on Amazon, and match that with other users. So in a way, you are basically doing a likelihood exercise, right? So like to like exercise, I would say. So which means that there is a user A who has purchased on Amazon or who has a history of, let's say, last 6 months on Amazon. There is a user B who also has a history of maybe more than 1 year, 2 year on Amazon, right? The user A and user B are very similar on demographics in terms of their age or whatever information that is shared on Amazon in terms of demographic data, right? The same, right? So what else do you see is not only demographics, but mainly the purchasing behavior on Amazon. So in the last 6 months, mostly the products bought by user A are, maybe there is a 70% overlap or 50-60% overlap with the user B who has bought in the last 2 years. So what do you say means that there is 70-80% overlap between user A and user B in terms of purchasing behavior on Amazon. So then you can say that these users are most likely similar in terms of purchasing behavior, right? But there are certain products which user A has not bought, user B has bought, which is the 20-30% gap that you see, and vice versa. And now your goal is to recommend that to each other, to both of the users, right? User A and B, which the products both have not bought. So then this is the typical like data collection process. And then you're doing a mapping exercise. This is an AI or predictive AI, right? Now you basically predict them. You would like this product. So let's recommend this product, and then customer will show their behavior, whether they will buy or not, right? And you improve it as you collect more and more data. So you make sure that this product is bought by the user. So then this is AI. Now, if I talk about the generative AI, how that is different is generative AI is it's definitely predictive, but it does different type of tasks. It's more capable of doing generative tasks. So, for example, let's say you are working as a data scientist in a company and you're working on a model. The model has a code, right? Or you for to build a model, you have to write a Python code. Now, you'd use an AI, right? Let's say, for example, the Chat GPT, right? You use Chat GPT and take the help of Chat GPT to write a code for you to build a random forest model or any model, the same recommendation model. So then Chat GPT will write a code for you. It will work as an assistant to you to give you the code end to end. You can provide the data. You can ask ChatGPT to give it data to perform data analysis, to perform charts, to perform anything, which means that basically do any kind of analysis that you want to perform. So then technically what it is doing, it is definitely inherently internally it is predicting, like it is the way it works is basically predictions of the you know uh, prediction the I mean the technology is predictive, but for to you it is more like a generating an output which you want, rather than just doing a prediction of yes and no, whether user will buy this product or not, or there is a recommending the product only. This is actually giving you the whole code. This process is called the generative process. Underlying technology is called the large language models. Similarly, it works in the images also, right? If you ask the chat GPT to generate an image, it will generate an image for you, which means that it will create an image for you. That image might be completely, new, which is not existing in the, overall internet, because it is creating by one, step by step, the whole not, can say dots or the images are connected. So basically, which means that here the difference between the traditional versus the gen AI is the traditional AI you were predicting, it was more like an optimization technique, mathematical approach. Here it is more generative, uses natural language processes in the back end, large language models, and gives you the output in a like gives you the final output. It could You can ask the chat GPT to write an email for you, it will write an email for you. You can ask the chat GPT to generate an image for you, it will do that. It will write a code for you, it will do that. So that's the difference between Gen AI and AI. I hope this clarifies that. The idea here is that now uh, the point is that both of them are required, right? Both of them solve different problems. the recommendation model, the predictive model is still required for those kind of problems. You can take a help of that Gen AI to create that model. So Gen AI also solved that problem, right? So basically meaning that, but then it's more like a generative problem. So then both the problems are solved. I mean, both the solutions are required to solve the problems, right? So now, which means that earlier a data scientist, was writing the code himself, herself. Now the data scientist can write much faster codes using the Gen AI. Or the other way around is, let's say there is a person who is working in the marketing who has to create a lot of content for their customers, for their users on their application. He or she can use Gen AI to create that content, right? Much faster, right? Now with AI or Gen AI. So those kind of problems actually now are solved by Gen AI. Make sense? Okay. So then again, I'll not go into the every detail, part of the slide, but basically the point is how can you learn Gen AI, right? So first of all, uh, the good part about Gen AI is that it is available to us on the go, which means that we can work with them. We can via the UIs that are available. For example, Chat GPT is one of the UI. The backend model is called GPT 4.5, GPT 5, GPT 5 thinking mode, reasoning models, etc. So, but there is a front end that we interact with is Chat GPT. Claude has their own, Gemini has their own, UIs. So basically, you are working on a UI, and then you are interacting with these models, or you're getting your output via natural language way. Natural language means as we interact with each other, I'm interacting, you can pass this voice instruction or let's say chat interaction with them and get the output. That's a good part of it, right? So which means that you can interact with these AI tools which are available for you on the go via natural language way. This is also called prompting, right? So which means that you can send a prompt, write a prompt, and then it will give you the output, whatever you are asking for. Or why basically the natural language interaction that you're having is basically called user prompt, right? So then you can interact with them via user prompt. As an end user, you can use the tools. But there are multiple other ways to, use them. For example, let's say there are APIs available. You can directly integrate those APIs in your product. Let's say you are, an edtech company, and now you are building a product. The product will have the, let's say, user interviews, AI user interviews, and with that um, you can call these APIs, integrate these APIs in the backend like OpenAI APIs and all, which will give you the a product, a backend, and you have front end ready, and that's how the AI product gets built. So the lot of businesses and applications are built using this AI, Gen AI. So you might work as a data scientist in building these applications, especially, building these, integrating these technologies. That will be one of your role. Or you can also update these models based on your business context in terms of there are techniques like you must have heard about RAG, retrieval augmented generation, as well as fine tuning to use these models, right? To update these models as per your business context. Okay. So again, not going to there too much details, but again, I can, if you have any questions, happy to answer. But that's the overall idea of using Gen AI as a tool in your work experience. Wherever you're working, you can use that. I've already covered that GPT-5 part, but basically meaning these models are becoming more and more accurate in terms of their output, right? So now GPT-5 is, you can say, one of the smartest models that we have seen in the industry, where you get the answers. Like it could be complex problem that you're solving. It most likely it will give you the accurate answer with very less hallucinations. Hallucination means that you ask something to Chat GPT and give you something else out of context response. That is called hallucinations, right? Or incorrect responses. So that's on the Gen AI, data science, and the skill set part. The part one is now done. Let's now move to part two, which is the market trends of AI, data science roles. So the market. So this is one of the study that is done by in the US market. Uh, So what it shows that there is a significant growth or expected growth in the data science role, especially in the next couple of years. We see that data scientists are required with updated skills. Now, updated skills means that using Gen AI, right? So which means that now as you start applying for any kind of roles in the data, any role in any of the domains in data of or as a data scientist, you're required to have the knowledge of Gen AI tools, especially like you can say that how to interact, how to use AI as a tool to get your work done, right? Are you able to do that or not? It could be coding, it could be, there was a recent news that Meta has now allowed the software engineers to, use AI in their interviews, coding interviews, right? Basically, the term is called vibe coding. Now that will be used in the interviews also. And slowly it will percolate to data science roles as well. But the idea is that this area, this domain is growing, and there is a significant opportunity. And the study shows that there is a 26% annual growth, that is um, number of jobs globally um, is expected in the next couple of years. In India, also similar context. Basically, the number of roles of data scientist will be increased 3 times by 2030. Okay. So now let's move to the career path. I've briefly talked about this when I was starting my uh, um, the topic, but basically how the career path, the progresses for a data scientist, right? So very simply, when you start as a data scientist, 0 to 2 years, most likely there'll be a mentor or there'll be a buddy a manager assigned to you, and then who will be helping you in doing the projects. So which means that you will be given, a problem statement, working along with somebody to assist, the senior person, and then you will be working on the problems, especially data analysis, predictive models that we discuss about. So, but you're supposed to know Python, SQL, all these tools at that time, and you should be able to work on the projects, right? Along with your mentor and buddies and managers. When you move to 2 to 5 years, basically, now you start getting projects independently. In terms of at a project level, you're giving independence. You take the problem statement, take some help from your mentors or buddies or managers, and then do the project on your own completely, and then give the output, share the output with your, again, team members. And then, you are there alongside with your managers in the customer meetings, how uh, the idea is communicated back, or basically insights are shared back with the customers, is something that you learn. With 5 to 10 years, now you start handling the customers on your own, right? So technically you should be sound, of course. And now business communication wise also, you should be good in terms of communicating your ideas, your, brainstorming with the customer, helping them solving the customer problems independently without any help, right? That is what you're supposed to do. You work still as an IC, or some roles might require you to be a manager also, in case, depends upon organization to organization. But 10 to 15 years is a time period when you actually, become a manager or senior manager or director, maybe. It depends upon, again, the organization to organization. And you handle, multiple projects, maybe teams, maybe domains also, depends upon your level to your I mean, in the company, right? So that's how the role progresses. But again, this is very subjective to companies. Now lots of roles are there, as an IC roles up to 15 years of experience, especially principal and senior architects roles are there, which are, ICs, or which have become ICs. Especially ICs are required these days, who are capable of using the AI tools in the industry. That's what also, like, recently coming up in the news. So that is, again, I mean, this is a changing environment. So this might vary a lot, um, different organizations, but this is how typical, progression that we see in the industry, right? Few years here and there. Okay, so that's the part two in terms of market growth, your career growth in the data science field. And now let's talk about um, um, the third part, which is the great learning, um, you know, um, um, the course. especially how that can help you to choose this career path to navigate through the journey of data science, right? So, great learning. I believe you are must be aware of the institute. It is basically one of the best online platforms, a tech platform in India. Enabled, I think, more than um, um, you know 12 million learners across the globe, 170 plus countries, with more than 400 millions hours of content published online, right? Delivered. There is a and especially 18,000 plus career transitions have happened through these overall online courses and across 4,000 different companies. It has not only you can say it has not only certificates that are there in India. The certificates are renowned in globally as well. Great Learning has partnership with John Hopkins Universities, Northwestern Universities, Walsh College, so which means that the certificate has a global recognition, right? So that level of enablement that you get if you choose the course via Great Learning, right? So what they have updated um, in this particular curriculum, especially after the Gen AI, is there are dedicated modules towards generative AI in ChatGPT. So as a data scientist, which I said right now, everyone is expecting you to know about the AI tools, and that is what has been the focus in the last couple of months from Great Learning side, designing the course in such a way that you learn these new tools, Gen AI and AI and ChatGPT tools, and how specially it solves the business problem, the coding problems, the data problems, right? How you can become the best using these AI tools, something that is taught in the course. Apart from that, the regular course updates are always there. You can see that this course is designed in such a way that it is actually more like a workshop than only a course, right? So you don't only learn theories, you actually learn more through projects, actually learn by doing, right? The best way to understand is by doing. So you actually end up using 22 plus tools, 11 plus hands-on projects, 60 plus case studies. Every module has 2 to 3 case studies before you move to the next module, which means that it ensures that you are, able to use the learnings that you had in the particular module. So generative AI will have a case study on its own so that you will only be able to move forward if you complete that case study, right? So it's overall 12 months of program, 11 months plus one capstone project, 600 hours of online content through that, 22 languages and tools, which I said, a set of tools that you learn, which are very crucial for you to become a data scientist. I talked to, and especially the the tools are designed or the course is designed in such a way that it is assumed that you might not be aware of the skill set. So it's designed from like from a day zero perspective, right? So people might not be coming from a technical background, like person like me who was not technically my background is not a technical background. I'm a bachelor of arts in economics, then did masters in economics, learned the Python, SQL, during my career, right? So and that you're giving before even starting the career, right? So you can see that modules like Python for data science, inferential statistics, introduction to SQL, introduction to Gen AI are designed in such a way that uh, you start from day zero there, right? And then slowly you learn, right? Each module is a 1 month module with along with case studies, so that you learn these and do the case study to make sure that you're fully confident and then move forward, right? And then there are advanced tools like predictive modeling, machine learning one, machine learning two, which is a natural progression. Like as you learn the basic stuff, then you start learning the advanced stuff, so that basically overall your toolkit gets completed, right? Machine learning is covered fully, deep learning is covered here, Gen AI is covered here. This makes you a complete data scientist from the tools and technique perspective, which I covered in the slide too, right? That's the best part of the course, right? And this course is again number three in the globally ranking in the business analytics course. It is the I would say one of the comprehensive courses in the data science and business analytics, including Gen AI side, right? So um, 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 in the market currently, and structured in such a way that you enter as a completely naive new person, and then become a data scientist. Of course, there is a pattern, there's a path you have to follow. You have to study on your own as well. You have to complete projects, case studies, dedicatedly, right, with a full passion, and then you should be able to. I don't think so there will be any challenges once you come out of the course of doing any projects. Okay, with that, I will stop. I think we have enough time for questions as well. So now I'll start taking questions. So please, keep sharing your question, asking your questions in the chat or Q&A. Happy to answer um, the questions. So I see one question from Anirban. Anirban saying, what things are looking for into fresher? See, again, freshers, this course is a professional course, right? So for you as a fresher, think about this, that if you do not have knowledge of these tools and techniques that I talked about, and you are aspiring a career as a data scientist, then definitely this makes sense, right? So in terms of skill, there's nothing expected from you. The good part is that you are a graduate, let's say you completed a graduation or master's, right? You're coming up with your academic background, and now you add this professional layer on top of your academic background. Complete the course, start looking for a job, and then, let's say you get a job in the market and start working as a data center in the industry. This makes you eligible, right, to become a data scientist expectation, which this course covered. Because after this course completion, you add the projects as in your resume, add the skill sets in your resume, so that you know once you apply for the job, your resume is basically makes you eligible for that, and then start giving the interview process. Okay, I hope, Anirban, that answers the question. If you have any follow-up please ask.
Uh,
um, yes, so sorry, Vikas, you're saying something?
there is one more question
Yeah, I'm taking
in
that.
the
Yeah, yeah.
chat section, Aniket.
Yeah, I'm taking that. So one more question from Pratik is that mention many tools in it. So we have to learn all of them or any one of them or must. See, mainly the tool side, I said there are mainly two tools that you learn, Python and SQL and Tableau, and Excel are like the secondary tools, right? Primarily Python, SQL. Right? These two we have to master, yes. But then again, how to master them in terms of how to learn them, what is the path to learn them, something that is taught very clearly from day zero in the course. I showed you the curriculum also, right? That's one part. In terms of technique wise, there are machine learning techniques. Yes, you have to learn them. Yes. So you learn them thoroughly. Again, the best part of learning this is that you will be learning by doing, and you will be doing the projects on them. So it will not feel like a burden onto you. I have to learn this 100 tools, something like that. No, it's not like that. It is designed in such a way that you practice it. And Python you learn because every case study that you do is in Python only, right? So it's not that you end up learning many tools. It is the tools and how to apply them in the use cases, something that you learn. Okay? Think. When you say mandatory, yes. Um, See, these are the Power BI or let's say Excel or SQL are data tools, right? So all of these help you to analyze data, to deep dive. You remember the first slide was talking about EDA, the data pre-processing. All of these tools enable that analysis, right? Modeling. So that's why, yes, in a way, those are mandatory. Those are the toolkit that you need that differentiates a data scientist from a non-data scientist, right? Why would they come to you with the data? Because you can use those tools, techniques. You know how to use Tableau, Power BI, right, to analyze the data. That's what the scientist or data analyst offers in the market. Okay. Yeah.
Uh, guys, I have shared the feedback form with you. So if you have any doubt regarding the structure of the program, the fee of the program, or if you are interested about the upcoming webinars or any other programs in Great Learning, you can fill this form and our team will get back with you with all the answers that you need.
Yeah. Any other question do we see?
No, Aniket, I didn't see any other questions. We'll wait for one more minute
Okay,
and
we can wait maybe 2 minutes
yeah, yeah, that's
for any questions. Yeah.
there is one query in the chat.
Can you clarify that? Yeah. Can you clarify this a little in more relation when you say you join as ML engineer with only ML and math knowledge? See, you can join if you're the engineering knowledge requires more, right? You have to know about how to deploy the model, right? ML engineering is more on the deployment side, right? So ML, there is a difference, there is a slight difference between ML scientist and ML or ML data scientist and ML engineer, right? So the ML data scientist is person who builds the models, who builds the ML model with the data, right? So the role of a ML data scientist is to develop these models. There's an ML engineering, which is a different process altogether, which is the way I showed you the data engineering, right? So they are the people who are responsible for deployment of these models. So ultimately, these models go for deployments, right? In the production environment, these models go. That is the responsibility of an ML engineer. So that is required. Um, uh, I mean, that is actually you can think of as that an engineering requirement. So you need to be an engineer to become an ML engineer, right? So that is more on the engineering side. So if you're interested in that, then you have to have a BTech background, right? ML knowledge plus deployment knowledge also. So this course will give you the ML knowledge and the math knowledge, you can say, right? The engineering knowledge, you have to get it separately, the deployment and everything, right? And then you become an ML engineer. So all the platforms, right? So which are there? Naukri, you can see LinkedIn, great opportunity to. There are a lot, as I said earlier, right? So there are 4,000 partners are there, plus partners are there who hire from Great Learning. So they have their own platform also, where you can apply from and for the roles or opportunities, and then you get an uh, again based on your profile selection, you get an interview calls. Okay. Any other questions? I hope, Anirban, this question is answered. You can ask any follow-ups. You have. Okay. I think it's good then, Vikas, right?
Yes, yes, Aniket, I think. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All the best, everyone, and hope to see you in the course. Thank you. Bye.
So guys, I have shared this form, right? So if you have any queries, any regarding how the great learning structure, the programs or the other programs that we have that you are interested in, right? We have a lot set of Gen AI, TS courses, right? So whichever courses you want to know about the structure, the fee, or the upcoming webinars of those particular programs, you can just put it in the suggestion in this form so that we will give you the list of all. Even if you want the recording link of this program, of this webinar, you can put it in that feedback form and we will share you the recording of this webinar as well, right? Okay, any other questions about the course I can answer? I will wait for 2 more minutes to answer any other queries that you guys have. Any other queries? I can take it. Okay. Okay, guys, you can copy this form and keep it with you, and you can, if you have any queries in between, you can just fill this form, right? Thank you. Thank you so much for joining on a Friday evening. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.